Welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about Iberia's frequent flyer scheme, which has now changed. So it used to be a slightly worse version of the old British Airways scheme, and now it's changed into a slightly better version of the new British Airways scheme. So let's have a look at their changes. So from the 1st of April, it's now Iberia Plus. And you can see it's similar to British Airways. For every euro you spend on flights, you get 1 elite point. Now, these totals, similar to the British Airways scheme, is not including tax. So when you look at a fare in the One World group, it actually says fare for the amount, and then you've got the total, which includes taxes. So it's generally the fare plus if there are any other carrier imposed charges, which usually aren't, but sometimes there are. So that's very similar, but notice that it's euros and it's not pounds. So that's the major change, but there's a few other things that are nicer about the Iberia scheme. Now, British Airways have a temporary scheme that gives you bonus points depending on what you book. But Iberia has them built into the scheme at the beginning. So if you buy more premium tickets from Iberia, so Optima, Comfort and Flexible tickets, you get bonus elite points as well. And what's better than the British Airways scheme is that they also give you elite points for partner airlines, specifically British Airways and American flights. You get extra points depending on what class it is. So even a very short British Airways flight will get you 175 bonus elite points in Iberia scheme. You also get the net cost as well. So that is strictly better than the British Airways scheme. Now, for other One World partners where they can't work out the cost you paid, they've got a much better, more generous chart of possible values as well. So if you did a very long business class return, then that's going to get you a long way to getting enough points just to begin with. So yeah, I think the Iberia scheme is actually the new Iberia scheme is much better than the British Airways scheme, especially as we look at status levels. So you've got your equivalent of BA Bronze, which is 3,500, your equivalent of BA Silver status, which is 7,500. You'll notice these values are the same as the British Airways amounts, which you earn 1 point per pound spent. Not just are the bonuses better, but the actual totals are the same as the British Airways one. So if you wanted to, their Platino is equivalent to British Airways Gold, that's 20,000. I think actually in some ways the Iberia scheme is now superior to the British Airways one, even though they're owned by the same company. It's not a great scheme, but it's good if you want to keep using Avios points and you don't fly Finnair or Qatar a lot. Because I think with their schemes you need to fly on that airline a particular amount to actually make it worthwhile. So, yes, we've got an alternative to the British Airways scheme for One World flyers that also has Avios points, and you can transfer points between British Airways, Qatar and Iberia just on the website. It's quite easy to do. So, yes, I quite like the new Iberia system. I still think for a lot of people the Malaysian scheme might be better, or even for some people the Alaska scheme. But this is certainly a better scheme than the British Airways one, which has been tweaked a bit since I last talked about it, but literally the only change that makes any significance to the British Airways scheme since I last talked about it is that they now give you status if you fly 20 flights will get you bronze status and 40 flights will get you silver status. I think that's correct. And yeah, I mean, who flies 40 times a year? Maybe some people. But yeah, it's not a great improvement. So yes. So in terms of the new Iberia scheme, I think it's an improvement over the BA scheme. I never really ever did the numbers or looked particularly at the old Iberia scheme, so it's probably a step down from that. But it's still a lot better. If you were looking for an Aviospace scheme, there's a lot to be said for the new Iberia scheme, especially because of something else I forgot to mention, which is you can now earn elite points based on hotels and things you book through the chain. They only allow you to take a third of your elite points and put them against this scheme, but still it's another way to earn status potentially. So I think in terms of getting to silver, equivalent BA silver status, so their gold status, I think it might be the easiest way for a lot of people who used to be on the BA scheme to earn that status again.